like a 20-second video. It's starting now.
Let's go!
Hi everyone, the 6th annual GMTK Game Jam begins now.
Your goal over the next 48 hours is to make a game that fits the following theme. Roll of the dice.
My initial thoughts on the theme were like, I'm concerned that we get stuck on the random aspect of dice, but also I thought it was kind of cool because I really like the aesthetic of dice and randomness. Overall, some mixed feelings, but mostly positive. Really like the theme.
No late submissions this year. Okay, I better let you get started. Best of luck and have fun.
The prompt was roll the dice, which is directing us towards a luck-based game. There's always some issues with luck games. Wide range of difficulty, or you just have to restart the game until you get good luck in the beginning.
Like I was thinking along the lines of, you know, you've got a die, it's got 6 sides, which are just 6 different states that it could be in. And instead of
Brainstorming got off to a slow start. I think that some people haven't brainstormed as much as others, so it was like trying to figure out how to get everyone's ideas despite everyone not knowing how to share them effectively.
Put into mine a little hellish environment. This guy just wants to do metal. A little bit. Shane, what'd you write?
Basically, it's like an endless survival game. But you're in a room, and then there'll be 3 different types of enemies.
But I think once we got like an idea starting to form in the group's mind, it went a lot smoother, and I'm really happy with how it turned out.
What if it is like an Isaac type game where it's, you know, top down, and you're just choosing like what equipment you have on at a time?
Didn't you already do the rewind thing?
Sort of. Not what I'm describing, but I may be biased to time-based themes.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any complaints with where we're at right now with splitting off? We'll work on the game. You guys work on probably getting the environments that they'll be going through down so that you can start drawing that stuff.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Okay.
Yep.
Great tip.
All right. Break.
Yes.
Yeah,
Demo stuff.
That's all you guys go for. Alright, erase it all?
Not quite. I mean, we just need to normalize it. Actually, yeah, just get rid of it.
So this time around, we decided we were going to put a narrative aspect into our game at the forefront.
And that's the overall plot. There's one, you have a, Wisp has a companion.
In the past, we've done a game where we threw a narrative in, but it was kind of half-made. It was made by somebody while they were working on the music for the game, and it was kind of just not thought out a ton. But this time around, we're really trying to take a narrative approach to it along with the game design. We have a writer on the team this time, and in general, we're just trying to bring a stronger story to the game.
Rat the Apothecary?
Rat the Apothecary. He's a little chemist guy. I'm thinking he's tiny, and he wears a cloak.
Is he a rat?
I think he should be rat-shaped.
So I've always loved writing. I've always loved creative writing. I think July of 2021, I joined a forum for visual novels who were just asking strangers for help with their visual novels. And I joined a game jam for what was called Spooktober, which was Halloween-themed game jams. We had a month-long limit. We made a visual novel. I've worked on other visual novels. I've worked on helping editing, and it just led me here to GMTK. With this, I've been tasked with being the writer instead of the editor and proofreader. So instead of being handed something, I am creating what I'm handing off, which is intimidating. But I hope that further down the line, I can kind of just ease into it and have fun. I like the narrative. I like the plot structure type stuff. So I basically enjoy the aspects of it where it feels like I'm writing a story. But I do like to get creative with the characters, the bosses, enemies, stuff like that. I'm really feeling pressure compared to past projects that I've worked on. I think just what matters is that we can create something that works and that we're proud of. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect. I mean, as long as it's for fun. As long as we're having fun, I think that's the important part.
Oh, that's so cool.
He's on. Yeah, you'll obviously.
Yeah.
So I've been working on a combat system for the game. We're trying to make it so that you get a different die type throughout the game, and each die has a different type of bullet. So for example, there's a two-sided die, which is just a coin, and that's the slowest and the wimpiest of all the bullets that you can shoot. Whereas you can get up to like a D8 and shoot 2 bullets at once that go in a weird pattern. The big thing that I've been doing recently is helping the other parts of the team get everything organized. So despite working on the combat myself, I've been helping, say, the artist work on environments. I've been helping the other programmer get the choice system up and going. I think that my time's going to be mostly just set on making sure that the game is playable, making sure that you can actually kill things, and making sure that your character moves correctly, moves through screens. I don't like that we're at the first night and I don't have something playable. But then again, none of the game jams before I've had something playable at the first of the night. So it's not like I'm necessarily behind what we were at, but we're not ahead of the previous bad schedules.
So basically I use Reaper, which is a digital audio workstation. You can plug in instruments into the computer and just send stuff into the computer and like lay it down on a track, and then you can go in and like use effects and stuff and edit it however you want. There are also digital instruments and you can go in and mess with those however you want. That's how I get a lot of my synths and like ambient noises and stuff. Yeah, basically I just kind of mess around a little bit. If I hear something I like, I will keep it and build on it. This is my first time composing in like a video game setting. Normally it's just like straightforward, not video gamey.
About 24 hours in, halfway through the process, we started feeling the pressure, and it got us considering what we could cut from our initial idea, which is disheartening, but also felt necessary.
Yeah, we cut out one level. So that's one boss that got taken out, one theme that doesn't have to be worried about. I'm working on making sure that the inventory system works correctly, making sure that you can have a different die and such. So the idea is that you can get one of the 3 separate dies because we cut one out, and you're going to be able to pick up as many items as there are sides on your die, and your shooting pattern will also be slightly different.
We're using the hearts to keep track of how much health the player has, and switching between showing a full heart versus just the outline of a heart to indicate that it's empty. I got that implemented and have that tied to the player's health.
I think at the very beginning I was very overwhelmed because it seemed like really open-ended. I didn't know what it would be, I didn't know what it would look like, I didn't know how the game would play, and now that we're getting art assets and we're seeing the whole thing able to run to an extent, it makes me feel a bit more sure of myself and sure of the team that like we're getting stuff done.
Feeling lightly more confident. Surely we can get most of it done, I think.
Equipping stuff first.
So the list be like, I have item 0, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
I did get stuck on a couple of things, which did take a lot of time. Unity added UI toolkit in 2019. Assets we're using is fairly new, and with that, there's not really good documentation or good examples for that. So it's kind of hard to look stuff up. I feel a little bit relieved that I didn't solve some of the problems I was stuck on for a while. But then at the same time, I felt like a lot of time was wasted, at least on my part, on my end, for stuff I was tasked in charge of doing.
I just finished up the item pickup system. Items that are in the game should be able to be picked up into the inventory. The inventory system currently works on the code, but we don't visually show it to the player yet. We need to still make it so that whoever's playing can know what they have in their inventory. Still scared, still tired. Not gonna stop until it's either done or we failed. So I'll feel this way for a while now. I think that we'll have a finished product. I don't know how much of what we've prepped for will be in, but we'll have something.
For this number of the old punch thing, do I have to actually write that? Is that part of the code? Or is that just like have this number here? Have a number of equals.
So just use the screen. You guys get cards real? Nope, this page from Panda's trying to get out of the zoo, standing on a ball.
Gets back in.
Keep putting my code on your laptop. Apologies.
Dude, what's he doing?
Yeah, now.
He doesn't know. No!
Since finishing the first song, I kind of went on a rampage and made the last 4 songs. Now I'm starting to work on some of the sound effects, which is an interesting experience because I've never done anything like this. I'm just kind of messing around with some quick choppy synths and trying to find something that sounds right. Overall, I'd say I'm pretty exhausted. The time constraint doesn't help. It kind of adds to the stress.
Right now I'm working on enemy stuff. My other programmer who's currently taking a nap, but he's working on equipping stuff. We recently found out that we had a miscommunication between the writing team and the programming team. The programming doesn't support some of their choices. They wanted choices that split off into different dialogue stuff. We never planned for that, so we're having a fun time. The writing team's asleep right now. I think there's a possibility that we can fix it, but also the guy that wrote the dialogue system is asleep right now. Worst case scenario, we just gut the dialogue after the decisions, make them so they're not really needed. It's a tough place to be in, but I need to make enemies, so I can't care enough about it.
The battle where they're looking at each other. Can't I go to 3D space? Yeah, closure. Boy, there you go.
Okay.
I felt awful, I felt super stressed. At that point, the dialogue system that our other programmer had made stopped working correctly. So I had to find a workaround to actually get the dialogue to work and get all the gameplay scenes together. It caused so many bugs to try to work around that. I thought that there was not going to be anything put out. It was just going to be a title screen, maybe the first level. Yeah, we ended up getting something that definitely didn't have all the features that we had like made in it, but we did end up putting something on the page to download. It worked and showed all the story, showed a lot of the art, but it just was missing some of the gameplay features that we were originally intended to have. The main mechanics that actually made the gameplay have any challenge were the ones that were scrapped. So the health system, the inventory system, the main mechanics of the game that really tied it to the dice theme, which was a real bummer for me to not get in.
I think it was still worth it as long as we got together, made something, brainstormed, brought that vision to life. It's a really cool feeling to see like even any amount of progress on it. Even if the final product wasn't exactly what we wanted, it was still a cool experience in general.
At the end of the day, it's something that we all chose to do for fun. That's what I have to keep remembering. It's not something that we're selling. It's not something that we're doing for a grade. It's like we're just doing it for fun. I'm proud of the work we've done. I'm sad that a lot of it had to be cut, but I also realize that at the end of the day, like the time constraint controls whatever you do.
If there was a little more time into it, it could have been the most polished and coolest thing that I've done at this point, but I think it was nice to introduce more people to the game making scene so that we have more people to draw on the future. But I think the idea of doing it in a game jam format right now is just so sickening to me. Doing it in a short period makes me actually feel like lightly physically ill. And I'd rather do a long project with a bunch of goals in it rather than something so short perioded. I'm glad it's over.